Okay, it's now 7 p.m. on the 23rd of April. The Master Plan Implementation Committee meeting is being called to order. This is a Zoom and hybrid, a Zoom and in-person meeting. And we'll start with an opening roll call, starting with Dave.
Dave Spina.
Jessica Taylor.
Norm Cheever.
Diane Gill.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. We can proceed. This is normally we would have a public comment period, but we have nobody in the room that's from the public and there's nobody online at the moment. So we will not have a public comment. The first item of business is approve the 327 minutes, which I did receive late today. I actually haven't, I had time to read them. So what I'll do is,
Circulate.
and there's no signature page, so I'll circulate and I will approve them next time, okay?
That sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, so the fact that we don't have Pam here this evening, we need someone that will be willing to.
Just gonna do, you probably want to just mention our membership has shrunk for the record.
Okay, yes, just early today, I did receive from Pam, Scofani that, due to workload increasing dramatically and the business doing well, that she will no longer be able to serve on our committee. So we'll be looking for a replacement. And she's our secretary and Diane is
I
great.
will do that.
We'll do the minutes for tonight. Thank you
Thank you,
very
Diane.
much.
Mhm.
Okay, now the assignment for next meeting. I know there's one thing, but there may be more we can add to it. But I'd like everybody to review the web page, Facebook page, what is it, Master Southwick
Southwick 2040.
2040. And we'll decide whether we're gonna use that going forward, okay? But we may add to that list shortly.
Do we have the key to that website to modify it now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And that's a Facebook page or is it?
It's Facebook.
It's a
Facebook page.
page.
There is a website,
There's a web
Oh,
page.
but that looks like that's been taken over. I went to that Southwick 2040.com. It was like a lot of
Yeah,
like Asian language writing
Oh,
and
yeah.
multicolored advertising. It looks like
Okay.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't know what it was, but it was,
the Facebook page
It's not our
is still
stuff.
there.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, but the Facebook page, yeah, is still on there.
Yeah.
was that an active website at one point through the town?
Yes.
Southwick
was.
2040?
Yeah.
So maybe it just wasn't renewed.
It
like
wasn't
the domain or
renewed,
That's my
something?
guess.
Okay.
The main name was,
Part of the delay from the advisory committee completing their work to the
Yeah.
time of us being formed,
Okay,
it expired and
Gotcha.
somebody else picked it up.
that's my.
Just one master plan shirt yesterday.
Oh.
Actually.
their shirts?
Our shirts, yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
want
mine's still
one.
hanging in the closet, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is to discuss two possible conflicting duplicate action items. And I tried to put the packets together
Yeah.
so we can look at it and decide what we want to do. So we have the two that were in the master plan, open space 2.4 and facilities and services 2.1. Different lead organizations, and they are almost duplicates of each other. You know, we're talking about the multi-community aquifer advisory committee, establish it. That's inclusive of all towns and tap into the aquifer located in Southwick to regularly address drinking water quality issues and provide education and groundwater protection at adverse effects on the aquifer. That was the open space one. The one in facilities is the same thing, but it's got two additions. It's got, need to additionally look at water restrictions and regulatory changes. Okay, and then Diane Gale offered up a solution, and it's on here too. And she has basically combined them and added one other item. That's including further restrictions of all types of development in these areas. Now, I had a question in these areas, that I assume that was aquifer areas only.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct, and that was a discussion in the land use chapter
Yeah.
and natural resources, but didn't actually make it to an action to address
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
okay, then the third page, Randy Brown commented on my email and Diane's. And he's given his 2 cents. He suggested breaking the new draft action item to a separate parts, keeping the original as it is and adding a new action item to cover the development portion. Although there is some overlap in ideology between the 2 items, I don't see them following similar paths or timelines. Further, the planning board should be a major player in the development portion, but will not be involved at all in the advisory committee. I would even argue that planning board should be the lead for the development item as they will manage the regulatory process. So we have to decide how we're gonna move forward with these 2, possibly 3 action items. I am generally of the opinion that there should be 1 action item. And it makes sense to me that. it's
As I
one-
wrote it, you mean?
Huh?
As I wrote it?
As you wrote it.
I do too.
I agree with that.
I do
Which
too.
is, just for clarity, on page 2.
On
Yes,
page
you wanna talk
two.
about
The
page two?
transferable
Yeah.
modification.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you were saying it should go to with the water commission, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that. Well, I guess, as I said, the select board would authorize the Aquifer Advisory Committee. But I said the knowledge base and contacts lie with the water commissioners and DPW.
Right.
I don't feel they should be separated because they might be at conflict with development over it. That's part of the responsibility of protecting it.
And having a,
Yeah,
advisory committee, right? I mean, the,
Which could consist of a plan.
right, a planning
Not you.
board
Not-
member,
not
not me,
you.
'cause I'm, yeah, exactly. Let's see if I have those. But I mean, yeah, and the planning board obviously would support, hey, yeah, you wanna change the bylaw, what happens in the water?
Right.
Wellhead protection is fine, but
Yep, but
they're the ones who are gonna know.
what's
they'll be
going
to
to,
recommend
what is
what
going
those
to
changes
damage
would
it,
want to
what
be,
has
yes.
the potential
Right.
to
Yeah.
disrupt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up.
What happened?
We lost our
When was that?
big screen.
We're still recording.
We're still recording then.
We don't have a picture.
Nobody was on there
Okay.
anyway, right?
Yes. actually-
Yeah, but somebody else might wanna watch it.
Oh,
Okay,
gotcha.
now,
Okay.
we seem to be back on now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me to have it as one because it's saying establish a committee to cover all the things that are listed. And I'm okay with your changes, and I agree it should be with the water commission, just from,
I mean, they've already started it. I mean, just having one will prevent any duplication of effort.
mm,
I mean, it could. The action is to establish a multi-community advisory committee. If that is the action, I guess that is the select board, because they establish the committees.
I see what you mean.
If that is the action. And then it's like the MPIC, then
Yeah.
what's your charge? Your
Right.
charge is all of that.
Mhm.
I guess I could see
And the
that.
membership would be heavily skewed toward water commission and DPW people probably.
Well, definitely
fine
gonna
for it.
be.
Yep.
definitely gonna be stormwater,
Mhm.
DPW.
Mhm.
The water commissioner.
Yeah.
Or two,
Mhm.
and not necessarily a water commissioner from our town, it could be from
Somebody
Westfield
who
or
knows.
West Springfield.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Doesn't
Actually.
need to be our town, however, we want to protect it from our town standpoint.
Right.
But I mean, it's everybody's drinking water as well. So I guess the lead party could be select board in that respect, just if that the action is to establish the committee
Mhm.
and its members.
Mhm.
Okay, when you go back to MPIC, the action item didn't belong to the select board. The action item belonged to MPIC.
What do you mean?
The lead on MPIC is this group. The first step was the planning board, the select board must organize the committee.
Mhm.
Right.
Which they did, but everything else on that list belongs to us.
As far as like carrying out assignments and things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Just as a comparison, I think.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
You
I'm
could
not
have,
sure what you're
I
saying.
think it's a distinction between, is the action to create the committee, clearly that would be I think in my mind, a select board.
That is the
type thing.
action.
right,
Whereas, is there another, or maybe is there another action which is do all the stuff that's here and that the action need to lead group where would be this new water advisory committee? You know,
That's
cause we
what-
have other
that's
committees,
what I'm
we have
saying.
actions of other committees that are not yet formed.
The
I mean,
select board was the lead.
Yep.
On the open space, the water commission was the lead. Under facilities, but
That's
the water commission has no authority to create to
Okay.
create that committee in
mhm.
the first place. And then the other observation was that it didn't address those missing elements of protecting or restricting development.
so do we need to,
So technically it stays with the select board under open space and facilities. But we have modified it. So our recommendation, the MPIC's recommendation is for the select board to modify that action. Correct?
To this to what you
To
have.
To take it out
transfer
of, to take it out of the
modification.
water commissioners,
Mhm.
modify the language of that action
and make
and
this
give that modification to the select board.
And
So the
then,
select board's already ranked it in their priorities. It's
yeah,
it was a lead. So we've already ranked it in our priorities. We've just now modified what we ranked.
Sure.
If we accept that modification.
yeah,
If we, as this committee, accept that modification, then we would send it back to that lead party modified. And remove
Okay.
it from the water commission.
yeah, so then,
They'll
I
just
mean,
become part of that committee once it's enacted.
so should
Okay.
there be a separate action for once the committee's formed
do that stuff.
to do all this stuff?
and.
Or like how,
Will the
like,
select board put a charge together like they did
Like
for
we
us?
Yeah.
did, you
Yeah,
betcha.
I would.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
all right, so we're gonna keep
all right,
with
so
it.
that makes sense. So in the end, it is to modify the select board open space 2.4. And remove it from the water commission facilities 2.1.
Mhm.
Okay. Mhm.
So we just need to send that modification back to the select board at some point.
Yeah.
Once we finalize, I guess, our tops and bottoms and middles. Right, send it back with that modification, I guess to any that we modify, right? Cause we're not gonna take any action on it just yet, cause we're still prioritizing and appointing groups.
Okay, but we need to communicate to the water commission that
This is off the list.
Right,
This is gonna be moved to the select board.
what did our rules say that we talked about last
Yeah, 'cause I
time?
was just about to
If we
close
were
up.
gonna make a change to somebody, and you were gonna suggest it to the receiving party, right?
Yep.
And once they accept it, we would let the other party know they're off the hook, correct? Something like that.
Yep.
Did we say that the select board, the receiving party had to approve it, or did we say we were making that determination?
I don't, I'm pulling it up if
I have, yeah.
So the one that I have, and I don't know if I have the most up to date, it says MPEC will determine if it falls into their right to approve the change or whether the request needs to go to the select and planning boards for approval.
cancel. Change.
I mean, in this case, it's really because there's a duplicate. So we're not,
And we modified.
and it is modified, so I mean, we probably should propose it forward, but,
Mhm.
We combined the two that were very similar, so yes, we modified it, but we also added to it, so
Yeah.
Right.
it should go to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Technically.
I would think so. And then.
Because we gotta follow our own rules.
Mm.
Right?
Okay. There it is, in case you wanted to look at it.
Mhm.
So. As I was pulling this up, I wasn't really hearing the conversation.
That's okay.
So the recommendation is to.
Well, it didn't actually come from the select board, it came from one of us.
Right,
So number one, the lead organization didn't submit it.
Right.
It was us.
Right.
fixing. So are we determining that was in our purview to fix? It was a duplicate.
I think so, because it was a duplicate and I think part of our charge is to make sure there's not overlaps in
Yeah.
that, you
That's a
know.
big thing, yeah,
Right,
right,
so I
yeah.
would say that this would be within our purview to bring forward.
Mhm.
And submit it for approval. And then we can report back to. Both committees.
And so we'll just submit it to the select board and planning boards. We can
Think
do
so.
that informally. We don't need to make a presentation, right? You as the chair.
Right.
You just send and say, hey, here's the thing we're doing and.
Right.
Here's
Yeah.
the modification we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
And we got that.
Huh?
Good thing we got that. We're putting ourselves to the test.
Why we put it together. Okay,
All right, so we would notify select board and planning board of this. If
Mhm.
there's no objection, or then we will just just tell them if we don't, no
Mhm.
objections, we will notify the water commissioners to remove it.
Yeah.
From there,
Mhm.
and Norm will do that as the chair.
okay, anything else on that one? Do we
I
need
think we got.
I think we're good.
Good.
You're good.
Pretty good.
Mhm.
Okay, the next subject is discussion on the term ongoing and how it relates to lead action item completion.
Do we want to
Uh,
do the liaison
yeah.
report?
Oh, yeah, liaison reports. Thank you. Anybody want to go? With progress on liaisons issues?
I have updates, I know I wasn't here last time. Um. I did meet with Randy. It was a fairly easy meeting because he's already submitted his priorities. No questions from him. So this was for the tree warden roles in the DPW. And then Norm, I can send this to you separately. He had a few items that were already in process that I'm not sure if he had noted originally back to you. So I can just give you an update on.
Okay,
That's after. if
Yep.
you want.
that'd be good.
Okay, the Agricultural Commission, I had a really good meeting with them. I went 2 meetings ago. I wasn't available for their last one. I know I copied you on, my summary for them.
Yeah,
So they were working on prioritizing, their lead actions. They had a couple members that didn't provide their actions yet. And then the last email that I got back though was that they went through them as a team and and did their priorities as a team for the lead roles.
okay.
So
That's fine.
hopefully that's acceptable, because I
Yeah.
think they had a couple people that were missing originally, and then they had a new member, so they went through them and prioritized them together as a team. They are still working on the support items. There was quite a few of them for them. There were like 34 support items. They were asking if they could have visibility on what other leads gave priorities to these items. I don't know if it's
That's
because
kind of
there's,
contrary to.
yeah, I don't know if
to
it's
the
because
past.
they're struggling with prioritizing them because they're the support. They were trying to be, this came through an email, so I'm just
Yeah,
surmising that it
yeah.
might be because they're not sure what to put and they don't wanna put something as a priority that somebody doesn't have as a priority, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So,
That defeats the purpose.
sure, I
Yeah.
understand. So I can go back to them and just tell them, hey, give it your best shot if they wanna do it as a team,
Yeah.
that's fine. There were a couple that they had, like, questions that came up though. And there were a few that were already started, but Norm, I think you already have the ones, cause I noted which ones were already started
Yeah.
in that email. But on one of their items, it comes from the climate change chapter. It's action 2.5 under climate change. And the action is investigate methods for the town to assist in developing agricultural irrigation, irrigation ponds, water reuse. And they're the lead on this. So they were looking for some more context to that. Their feedback was that all of the farmers currently in town already have their own irrigation systems. And they thought it would make more sense for the town to help with the cost or, pricing of the current systems versus developing new ones, but they weren't quite sure on the context. And maybe, they weren't really sure where that was coming from to know how to best address that item. I did go through the chapter and I didn't really I didn't gain a lot of clarification on that either, so I don't know if there's anybody else that would have been familiar with when it got put in here, like what the intent was from that.
Or work.
Yeah.
On that chapter, yeah.
Well, I'm not
What number
sure.
was it?
So it's on page 137. It's 2.5 under climate change. So it's under so the strategy is a multidisciplinary, broad-based and protective approach must be taken to protect natural resources, safeguard health and wellness, and have resilient infrastructure to both withstand and have adaptability to climate changes.
All right,
So then 2.5 is asking the Agricultural Commission to investigate methods for town to assist in developing agricultural irrigation.
Okay, so my thought process on this is that with climate change, we're gonna have drier periods,
Mhm,
and that the current method of irrigation may not be adequate.
mhm,
So that I think they ought to look at alternate methods.
okay,
They may have a pond on a farm today. But with climate change, that pond may go dry.
It does,
Huh?
it does.
Yeah, it does. And that's only gonna get worse. Now, we have several farms that have the capability of drawing off the lake. But they do it less and less than they ever did before.
mhm,
And
Personally, I question whether that's the town's responsibility. For private business, they're not town farms,
that's true, that's true.
that's why it ranked low on mine. As a support.
Okay. So that's my view of that.
On if the, okay, I mean, that would make sense,
But on the other hand, the agricultural commission is a lead on that. That is part of the responsibility of the ag commission to find ways to help farmers support themselves. So
Right.
that would be for the ag commission to facilitate going to the state looking for, not for the town to do that.
Mhm.
And maybe they want to suggest a modification to this. Methods for the ag commission to assist in researching the development of agricultural irrigation responses, something like that. That's my suggestion, is maybe they
Mhm.
want to modify that.
mhm,
What state resources can the ag commission help them find? And endorse if they need, town representative to give them a letter or something, that kind of thing. State and federal resources for that. That's my suggestion.
mhm,
Okay,
okay. I will go back to them with that,
okay,
just make sure, cause I had a couple other. In the, from the economic development chapter, task 3.1. Get there. Action 3.1, this is on page 57. The action is to organize an annual Taste of Southwick event with local restaurants, cafes, breweries, and encourage addition of local farm products similar to a farmer's market display. So the lead on this is the Agricultural Commission. And they do, like the idea, they like the idea of including the local farm products, but they were questioning if they should be the lead because it's outside just their farm, what they do as a commission. So they were questioning if it should be more suitable for economic development to be the lead.
And I then would suggest they make that argument
Mhm,
is,
Mhm.
that's the transfer
Yeah.
one that's up there now.
okay,
Mhm.
it actually originated with economic development under the prior chair.
oh, and then they reassigned it to. that
No, I mean, it
oh,
actually did happen. We had
Oh,
two events.
Okay.
Two Taste of Southwick at
Yeah.
the during the holidays.
okay,
And it was by the EDC.
okay,
It didn't involve the farms per se, it was restaurants, but
Right,
I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're saying it's beyond their scope.
Yep.
yeah. Okay, All right, I'll
Mhm.
talk to them about submitting the request. Okay, I think those were their only two concerns. Um. Oh, they did ask, so there were a couple agricultural commission members that were very involved with the master plan. And they really liked this book. Do we have more bound copies and would we? What would our thought be about giving each of the commissions one copy?
There are a handful
There are
left.
a few. left,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
they were looking at, John, was looking at having some more printed,
mm-hmm,
and he was off getting quotes. But I haven't heard any updates from John on that.
okay,
I would suggest they put in a request to the CAO's office for a copy of their chapter, at least.
the CIO.
This is the Ag Commission was asking for this?
Yeah, so they, cause during the meeting I had this out and,
There-
there was a couple members that helped with this and they're like, oh, that would be really nice, they
Yeah.
obviously put in a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, well, I'll bring it back, and then we were talking, it might be good if each
I mean, not as
commission
a
had.
working
a
book,
copy?
but just, I
Hmm,
mean, if they wanted it as a souvenir, they were pricey.
Sure, okay, understood. I
mean,
think
let's get
more
down
for
to-
working.
There was a limited print quantity for a
Sure.
reason.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking more as a working copy, like as they're
Mhm.
going through these action items and they wanna like check,
But
and
it's on the website.
reference.
But it is on the
Mhm,
website.
mhm.
We had asked, we wanted to combine with, regional planning,
Mhm,
who ordered these,
okay,
okay? We wanted to get more, we
Yeah.
wanted to combine it
yeah,
and get a discount. Well, they went ahead and ordered these without our input.
oh,
So to go out and get more made, it's gonna be costly.
okay, all right,
I wasn't even sure I could get a copy for all of our
gotcha,
members.
okay, so I'll tell them that they're very limited and, we don't have any that we can hand out at this time.
I'll check out how
So,
many are
okay.
If they need a
Noted.
section printed, they
Sure,
can ask
sure.
the CAO's
Yeah.
office for a section, I guess, a chapter or. Whatever they need.
But they have action items probably in every.
A lot of
chapter.
chapters, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, depending on who it is asking.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. So that's it for the agricultural. So from the cultural council, I did meet with them. I don't think that all of their members had looked at the action items, but during the meeting, they only had two leads. So we went through and they did it as a team again.
Oh, okay.
To do the leads on there. I'm not sure if I sent that to you or not, but I will send that over. They were slightly, I think maybe disappointed that they weren't consulted with the master plan, or I don't know if they weren't consulted at all, or just the people that were at that meeting weren't consulted, so, I don't know, they-
not every commission was
sure,
involved.
But there
sure.
were plenty of public,
There was a lot of opportunity.
Opportunity.
Sure, understood.
Yeah.
So they did prioritize their two. They are concerned for both of their lead items. One is explore options and designate studio space for local arts and makers, and then the other is pursue the designation of a cultural district. They are concerned with budget for both of those items. Or no budget, lack of budget, so they're not sure how they could actually execute,
grants.
Yeah.
without a budget for
That'd
this.
be grants, that'd be making application to the state for a cultural district recognition.
Searching funding for all of these action items is gonna be the responsibility of the lead organization.
Which was one of our things, what do we do when we don't have a budget, no funding?
And also, in addition to the budget on the, cultural district, They weren't sure and it sounded like that they were gonna research, but they said that item might be contingent with having a walkable town center or a walking district. That typically cultural districts are to have,
Yeah.
are in a walking
Mhm.
center. So that might be a restriction for that item. And then they had a suggestion on one of their support items, on item 1.3. They wanted to recommend, to the planning board, who's the lead, to consider the auditorium at the town hall for the cultural center. So I don't know how we want to relay that over
Alright.
to the.
Yeah, I can just- yeah.
That was
Alright.
just what they're,
I'm trying to think of which
There's
action
a
of ours.
list on, what was the action?
Yeah.
in the legal?
it was, 1.3, complete a cultural assessment mapping and define Southwick's community and cultural center. So under the define Southwick's community and cultural center, they wanted to recommend to consider the auditorium at the town hall.
That's a
That was-
planning board lead item then?
Yeah,
That's an odd one.
Who's
it's
the lead?
under, planning board, it's under historical and cultural. The historical and cultural chapter, section 1.3.
Cultural asset. mapping.
Asset mapping.
Oh, that's one I
Okay.
was gonna suggest was the historical commission. Oh, actually, I guess the lead would be the cultural council. It's the cultural assets.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was, I mean, it's on, they didn't ask for it to be their lead item, but
Yeah,
it's
it
on as a
almost
planning
feels like
board.
it, yeah. I see it is the planning board.
So are they saying they would like it? to have
take
it?
it?
I can ask, I mean, they only had two other items and
Mhm.
maybe that's something that they would be, more excited about.
Yeah,
I think
You
that
know?
might be more suited for them than
Okay.
the planning
Yeah.
board. I mean,
yeah.
we certainly.
I initially said historical because we have the historical commission. And it would involve the Southwick Historical Society as well, cultural is history as well, not just
Right.
arts.
Yeah,
It's arts and history.
Mhm.
I think they could use this same chart. This is just a reverse transfer.
A reverse transfer, yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They could contact the
could say-
planning board and
Say, hey,
say,
we think we'd like to take this one on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Have at it.
okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are all the updates I have.
good report, good questions.
I attended a historical commission meeting. I think they understand at least what their prioritization activity is. I haven't seen anything come out of that. I don't know if you,
Okay.
did they send anything to you?
No,
Guessing
they
they
haven't
didn't.
sent anything,
Okay.
and after. Did you stay for the whole meeting? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cause my meeting followed
Yeah.
right after that one.
All right.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
I'll contact Julie though, just to. Their secretary to see if, she knows anything.
Okay. All right. I'll reach out to them.
Yeah,
Let's see here. As far as the planning board goes,
yes.
I think we should probably recognize that. I think we're gonna get responses from 3 of the present members, because Mr. Ottinger is,
That's,
almost pulling out, so I think.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yep.
Except we have a couple, I sent you an email today, and I know you probably haven't.
Actually, I did see it, so
Okay.
I responded to one of them, but
Okay,
maybe there's
so
another.
what I did is I printed out. Everything for the planning board,
Okay,
so just.
and I have no problem going without Richard,
Sorry, historical, so were they still working on it?
they're still working on it.
yeah. Diane submitted the middle group,
Yep,
okay, and then. For the top and bottom.
Yep.
then
yep,
She resubmitted. The ones that,
the unranked versions, or,
the ones that were asked to identify what are your picks for top 10 and top bottom. She didn't prioritize the group one.
Oh.
So this is what I have for the planning board. And these are your copies,
Cool.
Right,
okay?
the planning board needs more work.
Yes. All right.
Now, the danger we have, which is a good and bad, is that you got two new members that are gonna be coming sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Do you wait to prioritize and gain from that knowledge?
Right.
Or do we say, let's not stop time? We need to get this going. The planning board can
Yeah.
decide that because this whole process is taking much longer.
Taking that,
than
there's
that.
prioritization process is taking.
It's a lot of work
Across
for
the board,
everybody.
absolutely.
I think your participating members now are well versed and have pretty clear opinions
I
to
think so.
Yeah,
go with that.
I think so too. I mean,
that would be my preference.
yes.
As soon as I get Diane's top and bottom,
Yeah,
I'll need a day to convert
sure.
the three packages together and send it back for your final
Just take a look at. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, so. All right. So you need top and bottom rankings for
But-
Diane. Yep, and then we'll have, I think, yeah, I
And I
tend to
think-
agree that,
You sent me an email. You're saying I'm good now, but I don't think you did the attachment.
I didn't do the attachment to that email, but the two email messages that preceded that had the attachments.
All right. I'll go back
So,
and look
yeah,
again.
Yeah, so that was like the summary email saying, okay,
Okay.
you should have it all.
Okay, I'll go back and look.
You know? I was gonna do something where I think I take one email and say, here's.
I'll let you know what I
Okay,
find.
all right, that's cool.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I think. Let's see, what's in this planning board meeting? I think we're meeting next week. I can certainly encourage, I can offer to them saying, hey, look,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna get some more members, but. Let's go with the prioritization that we have. I think that,
Yeah.
I do think that that makes sense. I'm
Okay,
not necessarily. Get input from people who are like literally trying to figure out what they're doing and anything else, you know,
okay.
so that's
I
good.
agree with that.
Yep. Cool, all right, and then the other thing is also, I have not heard anything back from, or seen anything from our buddies at Parks and Rec. So I think they're still also
Okay,
lacking in input, so. I will
okay,
talk to
yes,
them.
nothing
Yeah.
from them.
Yeah, and I
Alright.
haven't connected, sorry to interrupt, I haven't connected with the Board of Health yet. Their meeting 2 months ago, they didn't have, and then this beginning of April, I wasn't available for. So I don't think they've submitted anything yet, the Board of Health.
Board of Health has not.
Okay.
I double checked them today.
So their next meeting that I'm planning on going to is next week on the 1st.
Okay.
Have you met with them at all yet?
No, so they didn't have a March meeting, and then the April one I wasn't available, so I'm gonna go to the May one.
They got an intro from you?
I sent them an email, and told them, you know,
You might ask them to work on it. Send them an email, ask them to
Sure.
work on it, so that
Mhm.
when you do meet, if there's any questions.
yeah,
You can move them along.
yeah.
So are you done with your liaison report?
The only other thing I'd say is the CPC, they've got one, so prioritization CC.
Yeah,
I made sure they, you know, I actually
Okay.
read them in our last meeting, I kind of read out, here's what our thing is, so.
okay,
So they're.
So they're
at a
working
future
it?
meeting. Oh, yes, they're,
Okay.
yep.
all right.
Was there a lot on the CPC list? Just, okay.
Yep.
And they're working on it.
And they're working.
Okay.
Yep.
But they had support stuff though, right?
Well, they have support stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Really quickly, Housing Authority, I think you got 3.
I have two.
I sent you Glennis DeBerry.
Yeah.
You had. What's his face?
From Westfield,
Yep,
yeah.
and Jason Grunwald was a third one. So I'm
And what
missing
was the first one you mentioned?
Glennis DeBerry, that's the one I scanned a picture of and sent you. The other two were emails that I forwarded from a copier
Yeah,
address. Those were two separate ones. One was Jason, one was,
okay. I'll go back and check.
Kelly. So let me know what you don't have
Yep,
or can't find.
yep,
So we're missing, two. One of them is not running for reelection. I doubt we'll get it.
yep.
So if you get Joanne's, and I also asked Deb Harris, who we just appointed.
Yeah.
To do, did you get one from her?
Not yet.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
will follow up with those two. Um. And select board, I had to print Jason's tonight.
Yeah.
Leave them in his drawer. He'll do those on paper tomorrow
Okay,
and we'll get them to you somehow.
okay,
So we'll
I
get
can pick 'em
Jason's
up.
and we'll have the three. I can just have, he'll leave them there and you can pick them up there, I guess. PD, I think you got everything.
Ooh,
PD, police,
police is done,
done.
yeah,
CIO, I know she and Nadine said, I agree with Nicole. And Nicole only had a couple,
yeah,
and she sent you that,
yeah, I have Nicole's,
and I know Buildings and Grounds got you theirs.
yeah,
Yes.
Nadine gave me lead, she didn't do, I don't believe I have her support.
I'm in here tomorrow,
No.
so I
Oh,
will.
wait a minute. Get Nadine and Nicole mixed up. I have Nadine, I'm good with Nadine, Nicole's support, I don't have that,
Alright. Okay,
okay?
Mhm.
All right, from my liaison,
so I guess.
you got more?
No, I guess we have to take on Pam's.
Well, that was part of what I was gonna discuss. Pam had, economic development. But they are smoking. Not smoking dope, I mean, they're actually,
Yeah.
they're
Moving
cranked
fast.
on this. So I'm not too worried about that one. The school department was Pam's. And I have no updates from that. But they meet on Monday nights. So if someone wants to try to cover them, they normally meet on those, the first and fourth. Second and fourth Mondays.
That's a school department.
And then she had council on aging, which meets on a Monday at 12:30.
She did meet with them. I saw that meeting.
Okay,
I can do the council on aging.
you sure?
I can't do the school department because it's my select board meetings, same time.
Yeah,
I could
Fourth.
probably
Yeah.
do the school. So the intention would be when we get another person, we can transfer
Right,
that back
this is-
over,
this is
right?
temporary.
Okay.
It may be a month, it may be 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
before we have.
Somebody,
Unfortunately, we won't do appointments until after the election and we have a new member of the select board to appoint for the next
Okay, and when is the
Okay.
election again? Is it
May 13th.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
okay, so council on aging is gonna be Diane.
I mean, unless we have someone who steps up and wants to be the interim until that point, you know, we can appoint him for 2 weeks, but then we won't even meet,
right, yeah.
so.
Yep.
So I'm saying you can recruit. Feel free to recruit and we'll get them on.
Yeah,
Okay,
And you said the school committee meets the first and the fourth Monday, is that?
well, I look at their second and fourth is the most common.
Okay.
There was one first Monday, but over the last 5 months, it's pretty much the second and fourth Mondays. And economic development, I'll take that temporarily. If that's okay with you.
totally fine with me.
Okay,
Is there another?
That was it.
That's it, okay.
that was it. Okay. From my standpoint, lake management is almost done. There's two associate members that have not filled out. Our chairman is trying to get them to fill it out. But we got 9 inputs so far, so
That's good.
I'm not too happy,
That's
too
good.
disappointed in that, okay,
That'll be telling. You'll have a good sampling there.
yeah. And Conservation Commission is very slow. And lessons learned from my standpoint of people having less knowledge of Excel, understanding that when you open up a
Tabs.
tab, you got
4 tabs.
worksheets on the
Mhm.
bottom.
Mhm.
And knowing to, and then you know you can move them back and forth,
Mhm.
is a problem. I would have done it differently. Had I realized that,
4 separate files.
yeah,
Yeah,
or done an education process with it,
yeah.
because they'll fill out the one that it
This
opens
is a
up to.
20-year
Yeah.
plan, so, you know.
Yeah.
It might feel slow when it's getting off the ground, but it's a 20-year plan. So we know if we have other projects we need to farm out, we'll do it differently.
Sure.
Reminded me in 480.
Like progress report.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Nice.
So that's that one. I guess. Yep, that'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, now, we have discussion on ongoing and how it impacts.
What do you have for, water commission and, was there any update on them? On yours? Your water commission, right?
Oh, they're done.
They're all done, okay.
They're done, I'm sorry. Here's the handout for this subject. Actually, if you go to page 2 first. Page 2, it has the time frame definitions that are in the master plan. And the one that's confusing here is ongoing, continuing, still in progress. When do we have a completion? Is it when the steady state exists and all the tasks are done? I think we're gonna have to help define it to the different organizations. For an example, go back to page 1. We took the liberty of going through our charter and listed all the activities that we have. Have we started it? Is it complete? Is it ongoing? And when are we, as a group, gonna say this action item is complete? These
Mhm.
15 items, when are they complete? We don't know yet. We have to define that. But my thought process is once you're into steady state, everyday activity that's funded, you're done. And you can call the action item complete. What I didn't like about the master plan is saying ongoing goes forever. Okay, well, is your action item complete or not complete?
That's 2 different things, isn't it?
Yeah,
Complete and ongoing.
yes,
Ongoing is, do you have an established process, procedure, program
Mhm.
that answered the action item? Complete was, did you establish a subcommittee? Yes. They're 2 different things.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ongoing is established. now. Right? It's become part of our daily
Right, that's.
policy,
That's what I believe, and that's,
right?
I think what whatever we wanna define it, we have to convey that to the various lead organizations.
Mhm.
What is the definition of complete versus ongoing? Well, if we wanna think about that, we can make a decision at our next meeting.
Mhm. And it might just be give examples.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I did ours so we could actually go through the pain
Get
of
the
trying to
concept,
figure that
Yeah.
Get
out.
the concept of what you're saying, yeah.
Okay. Okay, next item is the presentation to the select board on the modification. This file that's up on
Mhm.
that did happen. Went fine. We had thought that we needed to bring them into it along with the planning board. But the input I got that Doug gave was he didn't think they had to approve it, so no vote was taken.
Okay.
They appreciated the input.
Mhm.
But felt it was in our authority to proceed. Okay,
Okay.
now, we also said we were gonna do it with the planning board.
Mhm.
Um. You have a meeting next Tuesday.
Yep.
Can I get on the agenda?
Yeah, talk to John, I'm sure. I don't know what the rules are as far as, I mean, it's just it's not a public hearing, so.
Yeah,
I don't know what, just normal routine business things, how
Yeah.
early they have to be publicized. You would
Well,
know
it has
better
to
than
be-
I.
They can do a modified agenda
Yeah, I
and just
think
slip you in.
Yeah.
Routine
If
business,
you've
what
got
I
set
call
time
it.
for your public hearing.
Yeah,
then-
yeah.
your public hearing notice is up,
Yep,
but I don't know if the whole meeting agenda is up,
typically it is, yeah.
cause you got 48 hours.
Yeah, but you can do a modification anytime
Yeah.
up to the meeting, so.
So I should contact John,
John, yep.
cause I can make that meeting.
Sure.
We had to do it last night, which is a normal night for you guys.
Right, right.
I wouldn't, cause I had a conservation commission meeting in Suffield. I had to go to.
Yeah, I think we avoid school vacation week.
Okay, then we'll do that. And then we can decide, on any modifications, we can send this out. Good. Okay, scheduling our next meeting is the next item. It's either May 8th or May 22nd. May 8th is,
Eighth or seventh, I think.
I think it's the 8th.
The eighth is a
It's a
Thursday, that'd be the
Thursday. Be May
seventh.
Seventh or 21st, you were close.
Okay,
If
So
we're doing first and third.
yeah. So if we did it on the 7th, we got 2 weeks, right?
I actually have a conflict for the seventh. I
Okay,
could do the eighth, but.
Are we do
Um,
first and fourth Wednesday? Is that what
We
we do?
normally
Yeah,
do the first and
first and
fourth.
Fourth, so
So seventh or the
seventh and the
28th.
28th.
Yeah, 7 or
Because I got a
28.
CPC meeting on the 21st.
Or we go 14 and 28 if you don't have a conflict.
I could do the 14th. I don't know if that.
I can do the
conflicts with-
14th.
Wednesday, the 14th.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have no life. I can do the 14th and the 28th.
Yeah, we'll do the 28th.
Okay. Let's go May 14 then.
May 14th, fair enough.
That's good.
And set for the 28th now, or?
Actually, I think, sorry, that might be the agricultural commission meeting. I just gotta check their time.
And which one?
On the,
The second Wednesday, which is the 14th. I don't remember what time they do. I did wanna attend that meeting.
They do 7 p.m.
This would be the same.
Second Wednesday, didn't have a time. They meet at 6, don't they?
No, 7.
Okay.
But that would not work.
Now, we have to be careful with only 4 members.
Hmm.
So one can't make it, the other 3 have to make it.
Right, right.
Mhm. So you have a conflict for both the 7th and the 14th.
Yeah, cause I wanted to go to to follow up with the agricultural
Yep.
commission to bring back
Okay.
what we just
have a
talked
lot of
about it.
questions.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you wanna go back,
Um,
May 7, you
I can
can,
do either one,
Me too. So we can do the
let's go,
7 and we'll
let's
just.
do May
miss you.
7 then,
okay,
okay?
And we'll just
That-
miss you on the 7th.
yeah.
Okay.
And then what is the
If
28th?
I'm done early, I have, a work event that goes through, supposed to go through 7, but I could, if it's done on, early enough, I'll come in.
Okay,
But I'm just not quite sure.
okay.
And May 28th is the EDC meeting night, I think. If anybody had to go there,
EDC,
I think so.
Economic Development.
I think we'll meet that week.
It might be the third Wednesday, unless they change.
Third Wednesday at 6 o'clock, they go. According to my former notes. So the 28th would be fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so we're good on the 28th?
yep, all right, good.
Hmm.
Okay, public display signs, it's the next item on the old business. And I apologize, there are a couple typos on here.
Yep.
I had to do this when I was on vacation, because I thought I was gonna do it on Monday after vacation, and then I realized we had a holiday.
I like that Messerly package. Wasn't gonna bring it up. I was gonna let it go, but you did.
Yeah, I didn't know if you guys talked about the signs last time. This was I brought the sample.
Yes,
So I'd be happy to have have some printed and we can distribute. Unless you want some changes.
I thought it
I think it's
was
great.
phenomenal.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
we loved it, and
okay.
based upon that, I did put a few out.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Okay.
very good. You want your holder back with that?
Well, you might wanna keep it, maybe.
So where do you have them right now?
Right now, I have one at the public library,
Okay,
one on the Council of Aging. One on that wall. One on the, clerk's office. Between not the assessors, but the clerk and what's the other one now?
Treasure
Treasurer. There's one on that,
in the lobby.
in the lobby.
In the lobby.
There's one out in the front lobby here in the display cases.
Good. Okay.
And that's where I have them now.
okay.
Do one more.
We can ask. Who does that? Jessamine Zone, I think, puts the notices in the case outside.
Okay,
Out there.
who does that?
Jessamine Zone, I think, is in charge of getting those notices out there, so we can ask her for space on that one.
And she's in the clerk's office.
I'm sorry, that'd be Christie. Christie does that. She's in the clerk's office. She is. On the outside.
Yeah,
bulletin
yeah.
board, Official notification board. Where else do we?
Are there other spots like at the rec center or? Any of the,
Who's got the school committee now?
me.
You, why don't you ask them if they can post it on one of theirs, cause maybe the students would wanna.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
participate.
thinking. Okay.
High school.
Yeah.
Or like in their teacher, Their teacher lounges.
Yeah.
Any place else anybody can think of?
Most everything.
Okay.
It wouldn't certainly be a sign like that, but there's this, right, isn't there the scrolling sign that in the,
Town
right at the,
crier.
yeah, the town crier at the corner of 10 and 202 and 57 there?
We could just ask them to post our MPIC meeting date and
Yep.
time. That's easy to
Mhm.
scroll and read
Yep.
quickly then. And just, I wouldn't say MPIC, I'd say master plan meeting,
Yeah.
date and time.
And who is that?
Jim Middleton.
Oh, it's Tim, okay. Oh, it's your bank, right?
Yep, there.
Okay.
Well, it's ours, but it's, yeah.
That's right in that corner. Yeah.
We can also put them on one of, ask. Let's see, we're part of the planning board's subcommittee, right? Or now are we the select board subcommittee? We can ask them to put it on a sandwich board outside every time we have a meeting.
Sandwich board?
You know, where they put employment wanted, you know, help wanted out front on the.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Or if we have something significant to, move forward or
Yeah.
a significant, progress point or something that we're gonna be discussing, maybe we
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
Definitely wanna put that on our Facebook page.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is the public access TV channel still, is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because anybody.
Does anybody ever
I
actually watch it? I have no
don't know.
idea.
Let's submit it to Ken Stonsky for Channel 15. And you can do that probably through, Margaret in the select board office, Norm, if you want to
okay.
channel it that way to Channel 15.
Okay. Anything else on that? If not, go to,
Oh, we also said, ask the Historical Society. Who's got the Historical
I do.
Commission?
Mhm.
Commission.
Commission.
Um,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I guess.
yeah, Historical Society.
Yeah.
I usually
You
go
know,
down there. They're really-
what are they open once a month or twice a month?
Twice a month, I think.
It's not gonna get a lot of visibility there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Measurement package then?
Measurement pack, okay, we did the measurement package last time. And the primary item for changes was, which I sent out. I modified the whole pitch after the last meeting.
Okay, thank
This
you.
was the areas of concern was doing the red, yellow,
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that nobody would be on the red lamp. So I did the following chart. We could do something similar to this. List the organization, current rating and cumulative rating.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need a good snapshot. of it.
Yeah, this would be 3 pages. Okay, I only printed one for this because I'm in color. But we could do that. Uh, and eliminate the red, yellow, green.
The listings per se.
Well, eliminate those, the front page. You tell me, I'm game to go either way.
Well, I guess you can take the goal is to have at least 75% achieved and include that here, so that's
Mhm.
what you're measuring here.
Okay,
And you can say that, a satisfactory goal is above 75% achieved, something like that. So that those who are in the red are reading that and going, that's satisfactory, let them
Yeah,
self-assess.
sure. Mhm.
And then the public can self-assess
okay.
also. I like that, I like this.
Mhm.
And we'll want greens first. In the columns.
Well, I could do it either way. We could sort it by organization or sort it by color.
No, I mean, in the columns, though, I think we'd want to place the greens first, the goods first,
Oh.
and the laggards in
Okay.
red.
Well,
Following green
well-
being the most positive.
You'll either have a red, a yellow, or a green.
Right. I'm just saying it makes more sense when it's green, yellow, red. I guess
You only have
where
one.
you are
In the measurement package.
in this chart. If
Yeah, but when this chart goes out, it's only gonna have one color.
only
Right.
one color, right, cause
Yeah.
it's, right, it's
There'll be
their
an
total
assessment up there.
achievement, gotcha.
Yep.
Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, so, gotcha.
So if,
Yeah, okay,
all right, so the next action item then would be review the measurement package that I sent out after the last meeting for the other changes.
Okay.
And we'll hopefully approve the measurement package for our next meeting. And after the planning board meeting next week, I'm hoping that we'll be able to approve the modification package.
Mhm.
It's still up on the board at our
Mhm.
next meeting as well.
Sounds good.
So we'll add that to the action items.
Mhm.
Then it will allow us to send that out to,
Mhm.
to the lead organizations.
Everybody know.
Actually, the support organizations need this one too, because they don't believe they should have a support action. They need to know. So this one will go to everybody.
the how to change.
Mhm.
thing.
Right.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Now, the other action item that Pam had was that high school student. Who supposedly had a name, never shared it with me.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'll ask her to see if
Okay.
she can at least give me his email.
Yeah.
So we can proceed
okay.
with that.
Mhm.
Also have one other action item for her. The last minutes that we approved have not been posted, so I asked her to either send it to Jim or to me, and I would,
Oh, but we did approve, okay.
yeah. Okay, and next item is, this time I'll give you a update of the tracking log.
You,
And I have one update on police. No, I did make that change. So anything that's now in red, Ws or X's is new from last time. So there's not a lot of change.
What, W or X? What did the WRX mean?
WRX.
W or X.
What did summer?
Oh, W is working. X is complete.
Oh, okay, still working, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're slowly getting there.
Like I said, it's a
Mhm.
20-year plan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I did put, I added the date on this, updated as of 4/23, so.
Okay. Cool.
And the next item is, anybody got anything else?
No, no.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Takes me in a second.
And roll call vote.
Takes me, aye.
Jessica Taylor, I.
Yeah, Cheever, aye.
Diane Gale.
And we are adjourned at 8:16.